I hear you have a dead brother.
Is it really that noticeable?
Wow, you're so dreamy. You have those I have a dead brother lips.
It is dead brother season.
Earlier this month, the switchboard for Persona 5 Royal was announced, leading me back down a rabbit hole wanting to re-experience the game with all of its lovable and well-written characters. And Kasumi. She's here too. My relationship with Kasumi is complicated because I try so hard to like her, and here you say, but how can you not like her? She's so cute and her backstory is so heartbreaking. You probably just dislike her because you think she's only there for the fan service. And to that I say, I mean, it's probably part of the reason. It's definitely the reason why Rise is my least favorite Persona 4 girl. Now, for the longest time, I could not figure out why I dislike Kasumi. I mean, her design is probably one of my favorites in the entire series, and her character arc in the story is fairly competently written, so why didn't I like her? Until it occurred to me, wait a goddamn minute. Kasumi does not matter in the story of the game at all. You could remove her from the entire game and honestly nothing would change, and oh hey, for a character that was almost crucial to this game's advertisement campaign, she appears fairly little in it. Look at it. She almost takes up 90% of the official box art, and how much does she appear in the game? Measly 3 hours. In a 100-hour game. She feels very much tacked on to the base game, which, I mean, she was an original creation for Royal, but with her it's much more noticeable than with Maruki, the other character original to Royal, whose story and confidant actually add something interesting to the game. But this video isn't about Maruki and why the third semester is great and how it expands to the theme of Persona 5, it's about why Kasumi feels like Atlas just wants to shove your new favorite waifu into your face. Kasumi was very much advertised as a new member of the Phantom Thieves, a new character you can use while doing your thieving round in the metaverse and deepen your connection with and learn a lot about. So you would rightfully assume you'll recruit her in the run of the main game. So when the third semester hits, the emotional beat, hits harder. Okay, so when do you get to play with her? The first palace? The second palace? The third palace? It's the last goddamn palace in the game, and it isn't even crucial to the main part of it. As a new player with no prior knowledge, you could easily miss it. I am truly baffled by Atlas. With the way Kasumi was presented in advertising material, I'm extremely sad that you don't get to spend more time with her, since the emotional punch in the third semester would hit so much harder if you were allowed to get to know her more intimately and as a valued member of the Phantom Thieves. Now, to her credit, she does appear frequently enough throughout the main story, most prominently by shoehorning her into the scripted story events and making up new story events, particularly for her, like her introduction or the cleanup event on the 30th. But for someone who we as a player are supposed to care a whole lot about and who plays a relatively big part in the third semester, I feel like we don't get to know her as well as we should. It also doesn't help that her character is very one-note and bland, which Persona games aren't exactly known for its very complex or nuanced characters, but when you put a blank piece of toast next to some of the best written characters in the franchise, these kinds of things tend to get noticed. Most characters in a story are designed with a specific purpose in mind. For example, Ryuji and Yosuke are the idiotic best friends, Yukari and An are your sassy girl best friends, Makoto and Mitsuru are the uptight student council presidents, and Teddy and Morgana are furries. Each of them fulfill a specific role in a story that was written. In a game where you, as the main character, have very little to say, it is through those characters that the main story is moved along. Persona 5 was very much a completed game. It very much felt complete with its admittedly large cast of characters. You didn't feel like you were missing out on something or cheated out of something. Each confidant had at least something to say or connected to the central theme of the game. It was a complete experience from top to bottom. Now adding even more characters. What more was there to say? Apparently not a lot. Maruki is used very utilitarian in the story. His confidant and moments with the rest of the party perfectly foreshadow and frame the third semester and its theme of what I like to call is, pain isn't great, but without it you wouldn't be where you are right now. He's great, but this video isn't about him. Again, it's about the other character. Kasumi doesn't feel like she belongs because she's practically superfluous to the story. She doesn't fill a specific role in the main or even secondary cast that isn't another cute anime girl you can date. The only shred of importance that I would give her is the scene at the cafe with her, Akechi, and the protagonist, and not because she's in it, but because it elevates Akechi's character and his story. Now, of course, these things can be easily said about the main game since she wasn't designed for it. However, she doesn't even matter in the new part of the game that was written with her in mind. I played out the events of the third semester, and other than her finding out about her sister and her being the first subject of Maruki's cognitive powers, she doesn't really matter. The main conflict is about your party and Akechi, and their chance to live the life they've always wanted to, and Kasumi does also fall into this, but at this point in time, who of these two do you care more about? Yeah, I thought so. Not even her confidant, while having useful gameplay mechanics, doesn't stand out. And while I don't think any of the confidants that aren't leveled up automatically are a masterclass of writing in the game, they usually do tell you something interesting about the character, or at least good fun. Hanging out with Kasumi feels like a chore or an errand, especially in the earlier ranks. I don't want my free time in a video game to feel like a chore. I want to hang out with my favorite character and get to know them. I don't hold Ryuji in high regards, but I like his social link because it deals with the repercussions Kamoshida's actions had on him. Makoto isn't my waifu pick, but her learning to loosen up a bit and make friends is good fun. Sojiro finally accepting his role as a dad is wholesome. For the main part of the game, the only thing you get from Kasumi is that she feels depressed, useless, and doesn't really know what she wants to be, which, surprise, 90% of your confidants also do. You're not special. It feels like Kasumi was created to fill a hole that didn't need filling. She's very much only there to appeal to that very specific group of people. The game already has an overabundance of characters, so you didn't need to add another, let alone two. Maruki on his own would have been enough for a third semester, since your already well-established characters have enough of a driving force to move the story along and make the stakes high and personal in an organic way. We didn't need Kasumi for that. That being said, while Kasumi's inclusion in Persona 5 Royal was inoffensive, she didn't bring anything new or compelling onto the table on a storytelling level. Utilized properly throughout the game, she could have been a great character. Sadly though, it seems like Atlas didn't want to commit and rather took the easy way out by making her the most basic cookie cutter cutout of a high school anime girl.